Hello and welcome to Secrets of Organ Playing podcast.
This is a show dedicated to helping you become a better organist.
We're your hosts, Vidas Pinkevičius.
And Aušra Motuzaitytė-Pinkevičienė.
We have over 30 years of experience of playing the organ.
And we've been teaching thousands of organists online from 89 countries since 2011.
So now let's jump in and get started with the podcast for today.
We hope you'll enjoy it.
Hi guys, this is Vidas.
And Aušra.
Let's start episode 754 of Secrets of Organ Playing podcast. This question was sent by Anne and she writes, I have a question. I'm a long-time pianist, played organ through my college years, didn't play for many years and have been studying with a teacher again and practicing a lot for the last couple of years. Love it. My teacher is always telling me to play with a low wrist and fingers close to the keys, moving from the knuckles and not the wrist. He tells me that wrist movement is like the piano and is not good on the organ. Is this standard? Organ technique question, yeah.
Vidas loves it.
In short, I would agree with Anne's teacher.
Yes, I think he is very wise. And, and I just have a question for you, Anne. Why do you doubt your teacher? You don't trust him or her, I don't know, that you need to consult us about it.
Because a teacher should explain the reasoning, right, behind this technique. The reasoning is, from our perspective, yeah, we could tell you about it. It's the technique is on the organ is to keep the fingers as close to the keys as possible, almost like touching the keys, even if they are not depressing the keys, but they are always touching, resting on the keys, preparing for the next position. Unlike on the piano, you have to lift the finger higher in order to make this attack, right? And the more you prepare your finger, the more force you use, the louder you can play the piano. On the organ, it's all more or less the same, right? With certain differences between actions on the organ. Tracker action, yeah, it's more regulated. You can regulate the touch with the tracker action organ, but in general you should keep your fingers in contact with the keys all the time.
Yes, because it will help you to play more sufficient and better and achieve better result. Because remember that in organ, differently comparing to a piano, the release of a key is very important too. So you have to control the press down and the release of a key. It's equally important. In piano, the release is not that important as in the organ. And as I tell my students and in general people who are interested in the organ, that piano and organ are completely different instruments. We have only one thing in common, we have keys, that's it. Because, for organ, you need to have pipes and bellows and keys, yes? And basically it's a wind instrument, only it's, operated by pressing keys down. And if you have ever looked at the inside of a piano, you would see that it has like hammers who struck strings. So basically, piano is more like string instrument.
And percussion.
And percussion, because you have that combination of string and hammer. Basically hitting that string. And it's operated by keys, but the result is very different, and so technique should be very different. And on the organ, the less wrist you use, the better you will play, the better your technique will become. because if you will use a lot of wrist motion and elbows motion as piano performance do, well, you will never can really control your articulation of the organ, and your playing might be sloppier.
And to achieve fast speed, that would be more difficult if you use big motions. The less movement you use from your wrist, the faster you can play, actually. If you watch good performers, professional performers, you barely notice their movements on the organ. They tend to play effortlessly.
Yeah, and that's why, organ is very, very comfortable instrument for the blind people to play, because you need to touch the keys all the time. And if you would compare like piano keyboard, it's really wide.
Wide.
Wide, yes, because it has so many octaves. And if you would look at the organ, we have much less octaves, but we have, a few floors. Like first manual, second manual, third manual, maybe even fourth and fifth manual.
Or sixth and seventh.
Well, yes, but these are just no exceptions, not like a rule. So everything needs to work out differently than on the piano.
And on the pedal board, similar technique. Also, try not to lift the feet off the pedal board also, but slide from key to key, feeling, keeping in touch of the pedals too.
Yes, because that will help you, to shift your position faster and to jump from one keyboard to another faster too. And you will play better.
How long does it take to learn such a technique, Ausra?
It
For
depends.
you?
It depends
For you?
on, well,
Your personal.
I don't remember already. Okay, I'm too old to remember it, but it took me a while.
When did you
Especially it's hard
notice?
when you still, play both instruments. Maybe if you would stop playing piano completely and play only organ, then it would be easier. But since you still have to play both instruments sometimes, you have to adjust really quickly.
I also don't remember when I started feeling comfortable on the organ.
But I don't think that these, like economical motions gave me the most trouble. I think the hardest thing was to manage the baroque articulation, that, or ordinary touch for me. It took a few years at least.
That's true, and I also notice that whenever there is a situation I'm unable to play the organ for a longer time, a few weeks or months, if I'm feeling sick, illness, or traveling, I have to come back to the organ, and then my articulation might not be the right kind of articulation for a short while. After a while I get used to that, my muscle memory comes back, but I think people tend to play legato more often after the longer break, don't you think? Also?
Yes, sure, definitely.
I've seen people on the organ at St. John's Church here in Vilnius play also legato, but I've seen them play with articulation in the past, but since they haven't played that particular organ for months, they tend to play more legato than usually.
Yeah, that's true.
And the organ is such an instrument that it's every time it's different. Every acoustic is different. Every situation is different, and even the same instrument in the same room, but on a different occasion might feel different if there are hundreds of people downstairs listening to you. Reverberation is much less, right? Much drier, and then your articulation has to adjust even on the same instrument, right?
Yes.
So sometimes dress rehearsals, when we see in an empty church the evening before, the night before the concert, don't work the same way we expect, right? Because tomorrow might be full house, and the sound might be different, and acoustics certainly will be different, and registration might be needed to adjust too.
Yeah.
Especially pianissimo places.
We have done that in the past, actually, that we had to add more stops during actual performance.
Yeah, the more people there are, the less reverberation, and the quietest sounds also get absorbed by the people, and sometimes you need to reinforce one or two more quiet stops to fill the room adequately.
Yes, and what else would you like to add?
I would like to take a sip of water from our Secrets of Organ Playing mug. We both now have it, and it's especially interesting to do it on camera. Right, Ausra?
Yes.
While we do this, let's listen to beautiful Ausra's piece, Meditation on Christe Sanctorum. Wonderful. Ausra is playing this piece at our Vilnius University St. John's Church, the largest pipe organ in Lithuania. And the solo stop is oboe on this swell division. All right, let's come back to Anne's question. After discussing technique and articulation, what we could add?
Well,
Also?
there are a couple short things that I would like to add. One of the things is very often the pianist, when you tell them not to move their wrists and elbow too much, they get tense, really tense, and that's not good too. If you are not using a lot of, the wrist motion, it does not mean that you need to play with like really stiff hands. That also won't work and won't help you to play good. So you just basically need to feel the really long and heavy arm, I would say. And imagine that your arm starts not where your shoulder is, but it starts way above where your spine is. So with that feeling, that you hold your entire arm from your spine, that will give you a good support, from your back, and it will help you to play technically well and not to harm your arms.
How did you discover this technique, Ausra?
Do you want me to?
Yeah, who told you? I just reference, yeah.
Do you think I remember now already? Maybe you do, but I don't.
Maybe
Pamela talked about that
Pamela,
quite
yeah.
a lot when we were playing the pedal clavichord. She would talk about that.
Pamela first comes to mind, yeah.
Pamela is Reuter
Finstra.
Finstra, our former organ professor at Eastern Michigan University.
Yeah, she taught us many different things from what we have been learning in Vilnius before coming to the States. the first feeling was sort of that I don't know anything about the organ or keyboard instruments at all, because in Vilnius we were taught one way, maybe more of a older way, so to say. And the summer before coming to America, we visited Sweden, Gothenburg International Organ Academy, and Dr. Pamela Reuter-Finstra was one of the teachers, instructors there, and we listened and participated in a number of master classes with her on the clavichord as well. So that was like an eye-opener, how clavichord technique can help develop good organ technique. Not necessarily piano technique, but clavichord technique.
Yeah. So, for pianists it might be challenging because since our early childhood we were taught a little bit different way. And I think the worst attitude is to think that piano and organ is the same, and to come at the organ and sit down and play as if you would be playing on the piano. So just you need to treat both instruments in respect and in a little bit different way.
And clavichord is, the first experience with clavichord for me was that I cannot even press the key right. The string wouldn't sound nicely, right? If I press too light, there is no nice sound. If I press too hard, the sound is like too much of a background noise or from the action, right? It's not the kind of sound we were looking for, right? But the deep motion from the spine produces deep sound on the clavichord, which transfers to the organ. And why? Because a lot of organists back in the day had clavichord, in Baroque times, had clavichords at home, because practicing on the organ in the churches was not very comfortable experience, especially during winter, right? Churches were not heated. You had to hire calcant, a person who would treat your bellows. A second person had to be next to you at all times. And usually organist would play on the organ during actual performance, like church service or a organ demonstration, right, for some visitors. But they did their main organ practice at home on the clavichord, or pedal harpsichord as well. Some had this type of instrument as well. So, and I wish you great success in discovering all the variety of early keyboard instruments and how they interact with one another, and maybe visit a few of them in some museum. In various countries there are museums of keyboard instruments, or there are music academies, organ academies, which have master classes on clavichord and harpsichord as well. They all help organists to have a decent understanding about connection between those early instruments, and play with authentic keyboard technique, which is not from piano development, but much earlier.
Yeah, good advice.
All right, thank you guys for your questions. Please keep sending them to us. We love helping you grow. This was Vidas.
And Ausra.
And remember, when you practice,
Miracles happen.
this podcast is supported by Total Organist, the most comprehensive organ training program online.
It has hundreds of courses, coaching and practice materials for every area of organ playing, thousands of instructional videos and PDFs. You will not find more value anywhere else online.
Total Organist helps you to master any piece, perfect your technique, develop your sight reading skills, improvise or compose your own music, and much, much more.
Sign up and begin your training today at organduo.lt and click on Total Organist. And of course, you will get the first month free too. You can cancel anytime.
If you like our organ music, you can also support us on Buy Me a Coffee platform.
Find out more at buymeacoffee.com/organduo.